Hi, I'm Jason Inman.
And I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And we're here to review Supergirl, Season 3, Episode 15, In Search of Lost Time. And if you've lost time and not seen this episode yet, you might want to come back later because there will be spoilers.
Supergirl must work with Jawiin to contain the chaos resulting from Marin's psychic disturbances at the DEO. Mon-El teaches Kara fighting techniques he learned in the future while battling world killers.
Okay, we're going to work our way through this episode, starting off with one of the beginning scenes. We see the whole group playing charades. Carl Lumbly as the Martian man dad. He is actually physically turning into the things. You know, he's an astronaut in the episode. Let me ask you this, Ashley. This is the second episode in a row where Supergirl has started off with a party scene. We started off with karaoke last week. We started off with this big charades. It's everybody in the office.
We've ended a lot of episodes this way
Yes,
as well.
a lot of fraternization, stuff like that. Let me ask you what you thought about this, because is this the idea that we're showing that this group of characters, this group of people are a family unit, they're much closer than the other shows, or is it too repetitive because we just did it last week?
I think that is theoretically what they're trying to get across. Supergirl tries very hard to prove that they're a family, and in defense of the show...
and most of them are.
The DC TV universe is obsessed with creating your own family, which is a comic book...
Bunch of orphans.
A comic book trope.
Yeah.
And it's a good trope, and it's a trope for a reason. To me, it's very heavy-handed here.
Okay.
And,
How so?
Because all the time we see it in Supergirl, it's always like, yuck, yuck, we're funny. Yuck, yuck, we're having the best time.
And
Look at us singing.
And Jeremy Jordan especially is the culprit of that in this scene in this episode.
He is. Big step down for him from last episode. In this episode, I think, unfortunately. So for me, it all lands as saccharine and insincere, and that's why I don't like them. Also because it points out to me like, wow, write Jimmy off the show. You know what? You could even write Win off the show, and that would be fine.
Well, this is almost the second episode in a row where Jimmy's just like, hey, Lena. Hey, Lena.
He's truly
Lena.
like, I called you for a week. Girl, if you call someone for a week and they don't answer you, they're ghosting you, they broke up with you.
Lena.
Move on.
Lena.
He's honestly being a complete creep. And
she obviously just is going to call me later.
That's the kind of behavior that gets you a police restraining order. Just showing up at people's work. Don't be like Jimmy.
In Jimmy's defense, I will say that this is the character in the comic books who was so obsessed with Superman that he built himself a signal watch just so he could annoy Superman. Like, ee!
Right.
Superman's like, oh, damn it, Jimmy.
But it's, again, this is another thing where, like, we're being told that, like, this is sweet, this is cute, look at how great Jimmy is, he's caring. But when you break it down, it's bad behavior.
Yeah.
So.
Let's talk about something that was really cute in this. Martian Mandad mentions that John Jones had an invisible friend when he was a kid. That creature is named Zook, who is actually a DC Comics character. He's sort of like this weird monkey creature with antennae, who was actually the partner of Martian Manhunter in the Silver Age comic books.
Cool.
Which I thought was really nice. And also the Fifth Dimensional Imp, remember that reference to
Mixie
Mr.
joke.
Mixel-Spitlick. We also get a reference to, there's a lot of references in this episode, a slight Superman 3, the movie reference, because there's a scene in that where Clark Kent, Christopher Reeve, goes into a photo booth and he changes into Superman and he takes the pictures and he like looks at himself revealing his secret identity. He only gives the bottom one where he's Superman to a little kid.
That's cute.
And then Kara sees the pictures of her beating the crap out of this villain. It's like, oh, cool. So I'm certain that is an intentional reference to Superman 3.
I want to say I liked the fight in the bar. I'm pretty anti-alien bar at this point.
Oh, too overused?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the general existence of it bothers me because it was introduced in season 2. If it was a thing, it should have been introduced in season 1. But I understand the production, moved to Vancouver, blah, blah, blah. But I thought this fight was good.
Yeah.
And I thought they used the space well.
So we find out that, of course, that Lena from last episode, she has Sam. She knows that, she tells Sam that, yay, you're Rain. And Sam doesn't believe her. And, you know, in true Luthor fashion, Lena's like, I'm going to lock you up until you clear you. I'm not going to let you go. You're my prison subject now. What did we think about this? Because I actually thought they dropped a great line in a bunch of these scenes where Sam says, oh, you know, you ask a doctor, they take care of you. You ask a Luthor for help, they will tell you you're a supervillain.
I thought that was a real bitchy thing to say.
It's a great line of dialogue, though. That is such a great line of dialogue.
It is a great line of dialogue, but I was like, oh, look at Sam being ungrateful for all the years of friendship and the job and the babysitting and the coming to your house and looking after you when you're drunk.
But on the opposite
Sam
side
is
of
a bad
this,
friend.
But on the opposite side of this, I mean, this line is actually justified.
Oh no,
Lena locked her up.
It's a great line, but like Lena has been up to this point nothing but helpful. So to me, Sam should have been more surprised by this and not so like she's very cavalier about Lena's behavior up to this
I don't know.
point.
I'm just saying, if you locked me up in a force-filled cell and told me that I could never leave, I'd probably be pretty angry
right,
too.
but you wouldn't accuse me and my entire family of being supervillains.
I don't know. I'm not in that situation.
I don't like this subplot. I think you could have cut it out of this episode and the episode would have been stronger for it. I do think it's very revealing and a nice moment for Lena, but I think that's because she's a great actor.
Well,
I think for Sam, can we write Sam off the show?
Well,
Thank God we didn't see Ruby.
They were trying to do the thing that, which is very much the Berlanti universes, especially on Flash. They always like to do this thing where they try to have two mirror plots.
Yeah.
And this was the idea of Sam realizing that she's a threat to Ruby, and it's John realizing that his dad is a threat to everybody else. So that's the only reason why I was in this episode.
True.
But I agree with you. Sam and Lena and Sam discovering that she's Rain maybe could have been its own episode.
And this is, I don't know if I would go that far. This is interestingly a problem that we've been putting on a lot of Arrow and Flash shows. We also have the Kara Mon-El plot here as well.
Oh, yes, true.
There's so much going on, and then in that we have all the business with Winn and Alex. This episode could have been served by some paring down, I think.
Then we get a really serious scene between John and his dad. There's like a cool mental game where he's moving little stones around.
That was cool.
And then his dad makes a joke about Zook that I think is supposed to be sort of an Alzheimer's joke.
It is.
Memory joke. Okay, so this is the scene that really, to me, focused on the problem of this episode. And the problem of this episode is that we are dealing with a couple of serious tones here. Like, they try to drop this in the Lena and Sam scenes. They don't quite pull it off, that Sam is basically a weapon of mass destruction and that she's a danger to Ruby. They hit it really hard in the Martian Mandad and John Jones episode, where basically his dad has Alzheimer's. He's like, well, I don't know what to do to you, and stuff like that. And these are great scenes, especially between David Harewood and Carl Lumbly, because they're great actors. But in the scene, making a joke about the Alzheimer's, I don't know. And then especially when we transition into a scene of cape tricks, it's really hard for me to take any scene in the episode seriously when you give me this deep, emotional disease scene between a father and son. And what am I going to do? How am I going to take care of this guy? Oh, all the options. We kind of all know that. And then we cut to a scene where it's like, let me show you how to be a matador. Oh, you know.
Yeah, Supergirl from its beginning, I've applauded a number of times for taking on these difficult subject matters. But to me, in a post-Black Lightning world,
Yes.
You notice where the pitfalls are. And we have a lot of tonal issues in this episode, like we've had on Flash. They used to they shared similar creators. They shared the same EP for a long time until quite recently. So I wonder if we're just seeing like the problems with Flash distilled in a different way on Supergirl.
Sure.
But when you offset, like you mentioned, when you offset these serious scenes with ridiculous scenes about cape tricks, and if you're the
cape tricks,
man, like if you're the person who came up with cape tricks, you got some bad karma coming your way, because it's lasted more than one episode and it's too much.
Look,
truly, it's too much.
I'm going to give a positive here. I actually think Mon-El's suit looks cool. It looks like the Legion of Superheroes Mon-El suit. And the detail in the piping, I mean, it still has the weird Superman buckle things that they love to do. But everything about his suit, it looks great. It looks way better than his black suit that he had before. But then, again, oh my God. So much of this episode is like whipping out the cape, and then they do this like whip crack sound effect that's really and Supergirl can catch a plane.
We've seen her
Supergirl
more than once.
Can lift ocean liners out of the ocean. Supergirl has freeze breath. Supergirl has heat vision. Supergirl has super ventriloquism. You read Superman comic books, you know exists. She has super flare. She has all these powers. I believe she's fast enough to get out of the way of her own cape. Although in this episode, she tries to say that she does.
But if she's had problems with a cape for 3 years, why didn't she get rid of it?
These cape tricks are really dumb. I'm sorry, and I try not to call stuff just straight out dumb in these shows because I know people put a lot of hard work into these shows and stuff like that. But this is like Silver Age campiness, and they never transcend it. It doesn't transcend. It's really silly, and I kind of want them to go. I hope they drop them, but now I'm really worried that Cape Tricks is what's going to defeat Rain.
It is, because we've had it for 3 episodes in a row. Can I tell you really quickly what my favorite part about Mon-El's costume is?
Sure.
You can tell the way it's lit in a couple of the scenes where he's fighting with Kara. It's the Superman suit with a piece of fabric over it, because you can see the imprint of the shield.
The imprint of the shield is on purpose.
Oh, is it? Because
Yes.
I was like, oh, that's bad.
No. Now, I guarantee you it is just a redone Superman suit because that's how they do work in production.
I never noticed it before. I only saw it this week.
That is an intentional nod. He had it in his black costume, too. The outline of the shield.
I can't be bothered to remember his old costume.
Because Mon-El, in one of the versions of the costumes, he sort of has a shield like that.
I didn't know that.
But also, when he takes over for Superman in one storyline, he puts a tiny Superman shield on his chest. That's what that is evoking.
This is a teaching moment.
Yeah. But I guarantee you it is a Superman costume.
It's just Tyler Hoechlin's suit refitted for his body.
That's an Easter egg.
Oh, okay.
That's an intentional Easter egg.
Oh, there you go.
I don't mind that everybody in the DEO goes angry because of the mind control, because, that is a Star Trek trope, and that's fine.
Thanks, Deanna.
It was cool seeing all the aliens in the super prison. Let's talk about the scene where David Harwood talks about what he has to do with his dad, basically turn off his mental powers. And Kara drops the Superman line, the son becomes the father, and the father becomes the son.
Did you love that?
Loved it. Then we move on to this scene where Kara and Mon-El are doing more cape tricks. She punches him, and she calls him a jackass. And she's like, "You're a jackass. I got you a job. You slept with Miss Tessmacher in the closet. How dare you?" It's all the things that we were feeling last season, but they're delayed a year. And it felt weird because to me, I'm kind of like, I thought we'd shut these down. I thought, like, you're talking about Kara's season 2 problems in season 3. Wow. And you said some excellent points after we finished the episode. I'd love for you to repeat them about how Mon-El has never apologized.
Right. So I have a lot of strong feelings about Mon-El that I've made very obvious here. To me, that scene exemplified why this character needs to go away.
Mon-El.
It's Mon-El.
Okay, not Supergirl.
No. I'm pro Supergirl. Yeah, Mon-El did all of these horrible things, but Kara still wound up with him because the actors got together in real life, so the plot somehow demanded it.
Yep.
He never once apologizes for any of those jackass things that he does. They just get to sleep together and wake up in her apartment. So the fact that even here, where he has come back, he's a completely different person, again, because nobody liked him last season, so we're trying to rehab his personality, but none of it rings true, none of it's particularly interesting. He just waltzes back into Kara's life, and again, at no point apologizes and says, "I understand now, I'm a better person, that this is hard for you, and I apologize for the way I acted." Kara just keeps apologizing to him. She apologizes to him 3 times in this episode. He apologizes once at the end and says, like, "Hey, can we stop apologizing to each other? I'm so sick of it." To me, he's very much the emotionally abusive ex-boyfriend who will not go away. And it's denigrating to Supergirl's character that she keeps going back to him. And that's because the plot demands it. I understand that.
Because they're gonna kiss by the end of season.
Right, and a bunch of writers said that had to happen. I understand that's the way things happen on television shows, but to me, that's not very super.
No.
It's not particularly feminist, and it's not true to the character that we were presented with in the amazing pilot we had for this show.
Right.
And that's why it bums me out so much.
Well, let's talk about, because I kind of want to skip over everything else in this episode. I mean, Alex gets to fight some cool guys. David Harwood, when he says "I love you" to his dad, is the best thing of this entire scene. I don't care about birds falling.
Pro Alex is screaming. That stuff is cool.
But let's talk about basically, because the problems we have in this episode, I think, are kind of problematic of this season. These wild tone shifts. We're going wacky, wacky, wacky.
From scene to scene.
Alzheimer's. Wacky, wacky, wacky.
Yeah.
Alzheimer's.
I would truly rather live in the discomfort of because they are very uncomfortable scenes to watch.
Yes.
I would rather watch
drama.
that for 44 minutes.
It's great drama.
Yeah.
Then we're still harping on Sam as Rain. We've said this, I think, in almost every one of our reviews, that, like, she's not a compelling villain. There's a tone problem there's a big bad problem. There's a really Rain is the world killers. Nobody cares. And then we are still dealing with Mon-El like we dealt with Mon-El in season 2.
Yeah.
And we didn't settle it back then, and we still haven't settled it now. And it's a little disappointing to me because I thought Mon-El coming back was going to be, we're dealing with the Legion. We're moving on from the Mon-El stuff. We're dealing with the Legion. The Legion has been completely sidelined for like 5 episodes
Right, and
now.
we finally got an interesting Legionnaire with an interesting performance in Brainiac 5, and he's,
I'm still mixed on Brainiac 5.
I don't think he's come, but of the 3,
he's the one I want to see the most.
He's the most interesting?
He's the one I want to see the most. We haven't seen him in like 5 episodes, 4 episodes.
But they've been sidelines, and what, they'll maybe come back for the finale?
Yeah, this episode, like, to me, exemplifies the problems in the season. All right, let's go straight into the rating. Ashley, based on a scale of 1 to 5, what would you give this episode of Supergirl?
I mean, I don't think this is a good episode of Supergirl, but I think it's in just a slew of a bad season. And honestly, I'm going to say this here, and it's going to sound very harsh. I can't believe the show is renewed. Like, truly, please have a bigger tone shift next season. I'm going to give it a 2. It was adequate. How about you?
I'm going to give it a 3 because it's not a terrible episode. It's an idea of an episode that could really work. But I don't care about Cape Tricks. I don't care about Rain. Nothing of this season has made me care or empathize with any of these storylines besides David Harwood and his dad. The problem is that we are 15 episodes into this season. And it's going to be very hard for this show to do anything past this point to make me care about what happens this season in Supergirl. Now, at this point, last season in Supergirl, we'd gotten Kevin Sorbo, we'd gotten Terry Hatcher. So even though we were tired of the Mon-El storyline, we're like, God, Mon-El's a dick.
Yeah.
The parents showed up, and it added an interesting twist to it.
We also had Alex and... Maggie, I was like, Sandverse. We also had that in full swing, which was a very interesting subplot.
So I'm going to give it a 3. It's right in the middle. Yeah, because, it's right in the middle. Let's keep talking, because there's something we want to raise up to you guys, and we definitely want your opinions on this, because we do think that Supergirl Season 3 is very problematic, and its authorities like, Jimmy has nothing to do, should just not be on the show. Alex, who had a stunning second season, now has nothing to do.
Yeah, she's just career lady.
She's just there, career lady, whatever. Wynn has become a caricature of himself. Now he's wacky joke guy. And I know he never really got that much to do, but like, I don't know, he had a lot more to do last season.
We were moving in that direction when he came to
Now I don't want him to go back to Guardian, but I'm going to be flat out honest. I am not enjoying Supergirl Season 3.
I will echo that.
I am really, really not enjoying it. And if we didn't do these videos, I can tell you, I would not watch the show. I would not watch this show because it hasn't been satisfying to me until like somewhere in the middle of season 2.
Yeah.
Like that was the last time. I'll give it Midvale. The flashback episode this season was probably the last episode of Supergirl I really enjoyed. So I want to know out there on YouTube, please let us know down in the comments. Do you want us to keep reviewing Supergirl? Now, we will if you guys want us to do it. If you guys give us overwhelmingly down in the comments that you want us to keep reviewing Supergirl, we will. But I'll tell you right now, I'm not enjoying this season.
Yeah.
And so I'm not really enjoying watching this show because, again, there are so many other better shows out there that I would rather watch than Supergirl.
And since we're just building to more Rain, I don't think either of us has complete confidence that it's going to get to a better, more exciting place.
I think we are in Arrow Season 3, Flash Season 3 territories where it's just like, it's Bavatar and it's Bad Ra's al Ghul and it's not turning around. So but I will say this, if you guys don't overwhelmingly say positive in the comments that you want us to keep reviewing Supergirl, this probably will be the last Supergirl review. But I will tell you this, we would replace them. We would do stuff like maybe with videos of like what went wrong with Supergirl Season 3, like that video. How about Supergirl comic book storylines that should be seasons or should be episodes? There's plenty of great Supergirl comic books out there that we could talk about in this period and be like, what they should do for Supergirl season 4.
Or maybe great villains for Supergirl season 4.
Or great villains for Supergirl 4. Because, I don't know, at this point I want to do everything I can to help the writers. Because I don't enjoy the show anymore. And again, so you let us know in the comments, please. It is your decision, guys. If Super Friends, it is totally your decision. At this point, whether we will do a Supergirl review next week all depends on how you guys decide in the comments. Do you want us to review Supergirl, or do you want us to just talk about cool Supergirl things that could be done on the show? So go down in the comments, answer that question. While you're down there, click subscribe.
And for more exclusive geeky content, check out patreon.com/Jawiin. Join us in the Hall of Justice and be a super friend.
That's right. We'll see you next time, Super Friends.